15 weeks of quarantine. But hey, good news, we are getting closer to the end of our theatrical drought. Movie theaters are finally reopening next month. Yay, I'm so excited. Until then though, I do have the next few videos of mine planned. So now, let's talk about another stop motion animated film. Corpse Bride. So Corpse Bride came out in September of 2005. That's almost 15 years ago. It was directed by two different people, one of them being Tim Burton. We all know who Tim Burton is. He brought us one of my favorite movies of all time, The Nightmare Before Christmas. I see this movie as kind of his follow-up, but not really. It's like his pseudo follow-up. Corpse Bride is not a Disney movie, it's a Warner Brothers movie, but it is Tim Burton's stop motion animation, you know? It's got his style all over it. I'll get into that later. So Corpse Bride takes place in, old Victorian England. The main character is Victor Van Dort. He's voiced by Johnny Depp. He's been arranged to be married to a girl named Victoria. And the two of them, they get along just fine, but Victor is still nervous about it. He can't get his vows right, he's messing up at the rehearsals. Then, through a very specific series of coincidences, he ends up in the land of the dead, and accidentally engaged, if not married, to this corpse bride, voiced by Helena Bonham Carter. She thinks that she and Victor are now married because of the coincidences, when in truth, it was a complete accident. Victor didn't mean for any of this to happen. And so now we have our pretty fun stop-motion Tim Burton movie. And like I said, this is a complete Tim Burton fest. All the characters look like those thin caricatures that you would expect from a Tim Burton style movie. You have Tim Burton regular actors, Johnny Depp, Helena Bonham Carter, Christopher Lee, Albert Finney. The only actors missing are Michael Keaton and Danny DeVito. Despite that, however, Victor is not your typical Johnny Depp character that you would expect in a Tim Burton movie. He's not crazy like the Mad Hatter or Barnabas from Dark Shadows. No, he's actually a pretty decent human being, which actually makes him very relatable. I relate to Victor a lot. Whenever he's faced with a situation like Emily, who's the corpse bride's name, she's like, we're supposed to be married, you proposed to me, you said your vows. Victor says what I would say. I'd be like, look, it was a misunderstanding. You're dead. I can't be married to you. I'm living, you're dead, it just doesn't work. You get it, you understand. But then you also see Emily's point of view, and she's a very sympathetic character. You learn the reason she is a corpse bride in the first place, and it's a very sad story. It's one of the best parts of the movie. One of my favorite scenes anyway. That's one of the things I really like about this movie, is that as short and lighthearted as this movie is, the characters are all very relatable, surprisingly so. You do really feel sorry for Emily, and you see where she's coming from. She just wants to be married. Victor seems like a perfectly good human being to be married to, despite the fact that his heart is still beating. I like the fact that in this movie you feel for both main characters. You know where they're both coming from. It's great. And of course, this being a Tim Burton movie, the animation and style is gonna look really weird and twisted. The cool thing about the style in this movie though, is that there's a really big stark contrast between the land of the living and the land of the dead. The land of the living is really drab, really boring, very monochromatic, just dull, gray, black and white, and everyone there is really boring. They're all about being proper, etiquette and all that. It's a beautiful day for a wedding. Whereas the land of the dead, it's all fun and fancy-free, it's bright and colorful. Everyone's singing and dancing and having a good time. There's big band jazz playing in the background. It's pretty clear which world in this movie is preferable. It's like the posters behind me. That's how big the contrast is. Land of the living, land of the dead. It's really fun, but then we get to the humor. This movie is chock full of death puns, which you're about to see the real corny, cheesy side of me because I love puns. I really do. Example, one of the very first ones when Victor first shows up at the land of the dead. He's in this bar and this detached head comes up and he introduces himself as Paul, the head waiter. The head waiter. Get it? I crack up at those. I don't know why. I think puns are funny. Victor and Emily are looking at this view from a balcony somewhere, and Emily's like, oh, the view takes my breath away. Well, it would if I had any. And jokes like that are fine if there are just a few of them in a movie, but there are so many in this movie, it gets a little overwhelming. In the span of 5 minutes, you'll hear 6 or 7 death puns, or something like that. Some of them make me crack up still. Others I'm just like, okay, I get it. But, it's a PG movie, it's meant for kids. They didn't want a lot of adult humor in this one, which is fine, because I was 10 when this movie came out. It worked for me then, it works for me now. And, of course, again, this being a Tim Burton movie, the music was composed by Danny Elfman. And it's really good, actually. Again, it's classic Burton Elfman style music. You got the strings going on in the background, the minor chords that are that specific Danny Elfman sound, the choir and everything. The main theme is just beautiful. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this movie is a musical. Yeah, the characters sing songs throughout the movie. One of the best scenes in the movie is the Remains of the Day scene. Die, die, we all pass away. That's the song where you learn the backstory of Emily, the corpse bride. And the song is just really groovy. The animation during that scene is also really cool. All the neon colors and everything. I love that part. It's probably my favorite scene in the movie. It's like the best elements of the music from Nightmare Before Christmas and like Grim Grinning Ghosts from the Haunted Mansion, you know, the graveyard, came together, went splat, and that's the music in Corpse Bride. I've always loved that style though. In fact, there is a small part of me that's still surprised that this isn't a Disney movie. I don't know what happened there. I've been watching this movie my whole life, ever since it came out. I have it on Blu-ray. It's not one of my favorite movies of all time, you know, it's not up there with Nightmare and Coraline. I like Kubo and Paranorman better than this. It's better than Box Trolls though, I would say. Just if you're a Tim Burton fan, then you've probably already seen this movie. We all know that Tim Burton is hit or miss. Some of his movies are masterpieces, others are completely terrible. This one is kind of in the middle, but slightly higher. It's in the good zone, you know, solid B. It's got really good relatable characters that are really well written. The animation, you know, the Tim Burton style is classic Tim Burton, which is great, usually. Danny Elfman's music is classic Danny Elfman. Like I've been saying, this movie is just textbook Tim Burton. This is where he shines, you know, in little fun stories like this. It's streaming right now on HBO Max, so if you have that, go check it out. So Tim Burton's Corpse Bride. Have you seen it? What do you think about it? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.